Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about the 3 red flags you're dating the wrong guy. Now, when it comes to dating, sometimes we can be infatuated by somebody's status or how they look or just something about them that we just love, just at first sight. And sometimes there could be things that are extremely obvious that no matter how infatuated or how great we think this person looks, those things will cause us to have a red flag and just say, look, I'm stopping right here. There's a no-go. But then there's some subtle things that are not so obvious. And those are the 3 things that I want to talk about today. And they're in no specific order, but the number one thing that is a red flag that you're dating the wrong guy is when you meet his friends and you don't like them or you don't trust them. The reality is this. The 5 people that we spend the most time with, they make up 20% of who we are as an individual. And so the friends of his that you don't like, there's probably something instinctively or intuitively that there's something that you don't trust about them, but there's a reason. And the reality is this. It's a good chance that that same guy that you're dating, you're probably eventually going to get to the point where you don't like him either or you don't trust him. Because the reality is this, a lot of times our friend tell the upcoming story about who we really are when it comes to the person that we're dating. Because a lot of times in relationships, especially when it's new, the person doesn't really meet us. They meet our representative. And so a lot of times, and I'll speak especially as men, we're on our best behavior at the very start and even sometime into the relationship. But our friends, sometimes they don't feel a need to really, impress you, if you will. So it's like what you see is what you get to an extent. Now, they don't want to blow the cover on who and how their friend really is. But when you don't like a person's friends, that's a good indication of in the future, you're probably not going to like that person either, because whatever you don't like in his friends is probably something that just not has come out in him yet. And so his friends and him himself, they're no exception. And so if you don't like something about his friends, and especially if he spends a lot of time with those friends, then eventually that's probably something that you're not going to like in him. Now, the second thing is pay attention to how he treats somebody that he feels is a lower status than he is. So here's what I mean. If you go out to a restaurant, look at how he treats the waitress. Look at how he treats the waiter. And a lot of times you know that you're dealing with somebody that's really not right for you when they don't even give any kind of eye contact whatsoever to the person that's serving them. They don't even acknowledge this person's presence because a lot of times he feels like, I'm paying this person. I don't need to impress them. And that is an indication of how he's going to eventually treat you, because even though things might be great in the beginning, he's doing everything he can, he's on his best behavior, but there's going to get to a point where he doesn't feel like he needs to impress you anymore. And that's when the real person comes out. And how a person treats you when they don't feel like they need to impress you anymore, that is genuinely what you want long term, because when a person does not have to impress you anymore, they don't feel the need to impress you anymore, but they still make you feel good, they still make you feel loved, they still make you feel special and beautiful, that is somebody that you can be with for life. And they treat other people as such. They acknowledge waiters and waitresses and things like that, but when you're with somebody and they feel like they're a higher status than somebody else, they don't treat those people with respect. And a lot of times the same respect that they don't treat them with is the same disrespect that you're going to eventually get, because not that he feels like you're not the same status as him, but he doesn't feel like he needs to impress you anymore. And so anytime somebody actually operates from that perspective, the relationship is always doomed to failure, because whenever somebody only operates at a high level because they feel the need to impress somebody, that means they're only performing, but that's not authentically who that person is. Whereas some people, regardless to what you do or don't do, this is who they are. This is how I treat people. This is how I function. This is how I interact with people, period. And those are the people that you really want in your life. Somebody that's going to treat somebody that is of a lower status as if they're on the same level. Because when somebody who's of a higher status treats somebody who's quote unquote of a lower status better than what that status really might be deserving of in the eyes of society, then you're with somebody who's operating with full integrity. They have respect for other people, and they're also going to have that same respect, adoration, and honor for your relationship. Now, number 3, which is a red flag, is they treat everything like it's an attack. You can say, hey, can we talk later? And the first thing is, what you want to talk about? Or you might ask them a question about something. Well, why are you asking me that? And that person probably has some issues that have nothing to do with you whatsoever, but you just so happen to be the recipient that's on the other end of all of the insecurities and the pain and the hurt and whatever else is going on with that person. But if you're with somebody and they always feel like whatever is, presented to them is something that they need to be skeptical about because they feel attacked, that's a red flag. Now, I do want to give you 2 more bonuses because I really felt like these were really important based on experience and a lot of the men that I've talked to over the years of doing research. You know it's a red flag when a man feels threatened by a woman's success. Whenever a man can't celebrate in the success of a woman, that is a red flag that is a relationship she really doesn't want to be in. Because what a man who has that mindset will do because of his own insecurities, he will make you feel bad about your success. He will make you feel bad about you working hard to get to wherever you've gotten to. He will make you feel like you've done something wrong by doing good. And he wants to make everything about him. And that is a selfish, self-centered, insecure person who wants to lower you in your own eyes to lift him up, to make him feel significant and special because he's inferior to whatever your success is. You want to be with somebody who can celebrate you, somebody who is going to, honor you when you are at your highest high or your lowest low, and somebody that you can do the same thing with. And I'll tell you, my wife is one of the top real estate agents in San Antonio, and last year she received an award. And even though it was her award, yes, that's my wife, but it was her award, I got so emotional because I see daily how hard she works to get to where she got to. And so I honored her, I celebrated her, and I was genuinely happy for her. And it was a special moment for both of us because she knew in my heart that I have her back and I want the best for her. And so she was just as emotional as I was, but it was a phenomenal experience because we can both celebrate in each other's success. And that's what you want, somebody who can celebrate you, but also somebody who you can genuinely celebrate when it's their time and when it's their turn, and not somebody who you just have to celebrate just to make them feel good about what they're not doing and the little bit that they are doing, or maybe something that, that really doesn't deserve as much attention as you're giving to it, but you know that this person is very fragile and they need some pick-me-up, if you will. You don't need that kind of person in your life, and that is a red flag. Now, the other thing is when you're with somebody and everything is somebody else's fault, and a prime example is when you even think about his past relationships. If everything was everybody else's fault except his, that is a red flag. That means that man is not willing to take responsibility. And I don't care who you are, we're all human, so we're gonna make mistakes. But the best thing that a man can do is own up to his mistakes, because in the eyes of that man, when you do something wrong and you admit that you do wrong, people can forgive you, they're willing to help you, they're willing to support you. But when you don't admit that you're wrong, sometimes it just causes people to be more against you because they just want you to admit that you were wrong. Because sometimes there's people that experience tragedies all around the world, and the only thing that they want is an apology. They just want somebody to take responsibility. But when you're with somebody that won't take responsibility, that is a red flag. He gets mad because they repossessed his car because he didn't pay his car note for 3 months. Or he gets upset and blames other people because he didn't pay his rent and now he's getting evicted. But either way, you want to be with somebody who's going to take full responsibility, because again, we're human, so we're going to make mistakes. And if you are with somebody who would take full responsibility, that means that in that relationship, they're going to do everything that they can to take responsibility to make that relationship the best they can possibly make it on their end. And I know you're going to do the same. So if you're in a relationship where you're making the best things that you can do to make the relationship the best that it can, and he's doing the things that he can make it do the best thing that it can, when you guys come together, you're going to have a phenomenal relationship because you have two people working together in one relationship to make it the ultimate that it can be, and both people are taking responsibility. But when you're with somebody who doesn't take responsibility for everything and everything is somebody else's fault, that's a red flag. Now, over the past 15 plus years, I've written books on manhood. I've interviewed and worked with men all over the world. And in doing so, I created a lot of data and a lot of information and understood a lot of secrets that men withhold from women. And I made them available in a small video that I want to give you immediate access to. And as a matter of fact, in this video is simply giving you a front row seat into the mind of men. Don't worry, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. all you have to do is just click below to get instant access to it, or you can go to GuyologySecrets.com. But in this video, it gives you a front row seat into the mind of men in terms of how to effectively communicate with them, what caused them to really commit, what do they really think about love, and so many other things. So I want you to go now to GuyologySecrets.com, or just click below and get instant access to this video to help you experience the ultimate relationship that you desire and avoid these red flags we've been talking about in this video.